Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. A lot has happened in the week that I have been gone from Giga Texas, so let's get caught up briefly. I did stop at the Tesla Lithium plant near Corpus Christi on the 22nd of August on my way down to Starbase. And I do have a full video. You can see the splash screen here. It is available on my YouTube channel. A couple of the biggest highlights is we saw the deliveries of the raw spodumene concentrate 6 being done by several large trucks. Also, signs that the plant itself is operational and making lithium hydroxide. So really great to see that this factory is now up and running, and this will help with battery production at Giga Texas. Then I was down at Starbase. I got a chance to see the rollout of Ship 37, something unique at Starbase that you get a chance to see that up close. Of course, the full stack, and then we had a few days of delay before we got a chance to launch. I got some really nice evening shots like this one. And of course, the Cybertruck was there to supervise as we were getting ready for Flight 10. We see ignition. Come on. Looks like the engines are lit, and we have liftoff.
Let's go!
Have liftoff. Let's see.
Okay.
It is going okay.
It's still silent.
Yeah, the sound hasn't got to us yet. We have all 33 engines lit. And okay, we're starting to get the sound. Keep going, keep going. So that clip gives you an idea of what it was like to be there. We had some amazing photographers that took pictures during the flight, including SpaceX here. The booster performed its mission properly. Some dummy satellites were deployed for the first time. A deorbit burn was demonstrated, as well as a full profile re-entry and landing. Here's an amazing video of that landing I'd like to share. So congratulations to SpaceX and the entire team for an amazing mission. I'm glad that they had this big win, and I can't wait to see what is coming up next. Back at Giga Texas, Tesla is kicking off a worldwide series of events, one of which is here today from 12 to 4. By reservation only, people have been invited in for a tour of the factory, testing out some full self-driving and seeing new products. Also today, Tesla is unveiling in Europe and the Middle East the new performance Model Y, and here's a quick video clip showing that. Also, while I was gone, the Robotaxi service area has expanded the far northwest of downtown Austin, including more highways in a busy area of the city. The airport has been added in right here, and they have included Giga Texas for the very first time. Now, you may be wondering, how does this compare to Waymo? Here's a map showing the Waymo area in green and the new area in purple. And along with that Robotaxi service area increase, we are now getting the official word from Tesla that FSD Supervise is now available in Australia. They're going to be rolling that out over the next few weeks. And it is great to see. This is yet another new country, and this time a right-hand drive country that is giving full self-driving. So Tesla is definitely starting to hit its stride with autonomy, robotaxis, and a lot of new products. Now, a lot more to see around Giga Texas today. These are not the only changes. There's some big changes over at the end-of-line facility and a few more interesting developments that I want to show you in the main video. So let's get into the drone, fly around, and see what Giga Texas looks like today. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. morning from Giga Texas here on Friday, the 29th of August. Pretty much the last time I'll be flying in this month. The next time will be after Labor Day in September. But we're going to start off here kind of a higher altitude, look around the site since it's been about a week since I was here. There are a lot of changes, a lot of updates, and a lot of details that I would like to point out to you. So we'll start here near the parking garage, and I'll slowly bring the drone down, and we'll kind of get closer to this material staging yard that is just to the north of that parking garage. And we'll get in here close. I'll zoom in, and good idea of some of the materials. They still have those crates that they've been unpacking on the left, and some more of the steel corrugated pipe. A lot of different pipe segments now near the road, and more of the steel items that are in the center of the screen. As I keep the zoom in, we'll kind of proceed back towards the old testing calibration lot, what it looks like today. Also note at the bottom of the screen that we see a vehicle going into testing for the wind tunnel. And that's kind of neat to see since it's been a while since the wind tunnel has been used, at least while I'm flying the drone. As we get closer to the secondary entrance here on the east side, kind of zoom in a little, give an idea of what is all here, especially on just the inside. It looks like there may be some castings, or at least related to casting items on the ground floor, and that entrance that's covered with that plastic and the plywood as they do more work in that location. This loading ramp has been busy loading in a lot of the equipment that has been arriving for that Cybercab production line. And the good news is we're going to see more of that here momentarily on the west side. There is some at the bottom center of the screen moving off to the right. But the reason why it's good news is that most of the equipment deliveries are now completed, and all of the equipment that was stored there, we're going to see a market reduction in that number because it's been moved into these temporary loading platforms and moved inside for installation. Now we do see some red items next to where that rubbish chute is on the right-hand side of the screen. And this gives us another look at some of the other equipment and items that are being delivered here. On the ground, there's some silver items. Those look like what was over on the far west side staging area for quite some time. It's at the bottom center. And of course, a yard truck bringing more materials. In addition to that, a lot is stored next to that opening where that vehicle is driving out. And as we continue to maneuver farther to the south, this is kind of a good view of what's going on the east side of the stamping machine section. A lot of these rack mounts here on the ground painted in white and red. Now here, the south extension, that window line near that temporary platform, we do see those gray painted extra panels. And while I'm here, I also wanted to show you that there is some conduit that is being excavated around the south end of River Road. Looks like there's a pretty big bend in both ends, so it looks like they are routing it to something in particular, which is just out of view. And it also continues along the entire south end of the River Road near Cyberpond. So it'll be something that we can continue to monitor and see what exactly they are doing, but there's a lot of conduit that's being placed along River Road right now. Not all of the fans are being used in the cooling tower today. Not sure if that's significant of anything or not, but it is of note. Now, while I get down lower here to the southeast corner, I'm going to turn back towards the glass. The reason why I want to do this is we've seen some construction on the ground floor with new columns being added in. Now we see why. There's this kind of a beam and columns that have been added along this raised ramp, and also onto the left. We see the wall panels being added in, and here is another one of those beams adding yet another mezzanine on this part of the site. And that's why they were adding more of those column bases, the footings that we saw on previous videos. Now, while we're on the south end near River Road, I'll give you a closer look at this trenching operations that is underway. We can see that trench box near where the excavator is. Some of this area has already been filled in with trenches. and others are being prepared. More trench boxes out of the ground and sitting on the side, and there's one that's in place for that operation. We can also see how this continues over to this location on the left-hand side of the screen where a large trench box is in place and work on the bottom of that trench. We also see work on the fork statue. That trenching has seen some electrical conduit placed in. Now it looks like they're filling it with gravel and backfilling it in with dirt. We can see those kind of 3 or 4 dots. Those are the lights around the fork, and they are finishing up that work, what it seems like to me. Now, also on this southwest corner near the south bridge, this is the caisson that is starting to receive the tunnel boring machine from the other caisson across the road, and that will connect these two together. We do see earthwork and grade work along this section on the left near the berm, and of course the continued trenching with the concrete pipe segments waiting for installation on the left-hand side of the road. I'm just bringing ourselves over here close to the southwest corner, taking a look at what is going on here. There is not a lot of activity on this part at the time of flying, so instead I thought I would bring the drone here lower and show that there is a new kind of a black fence-like section and other fencing being put on here and segregating off some of this equipment that is being stored. Of course, that roadway connects underneath the extension over near the Cybertunnel and out the east side. So bring the drone back up in altitude. Wanted to show you a closer view of this trenching operation with the trench box down at the bottom of the screen and all of the materials all along this berm up towards the flag poles. While I was flying towards the north, I noticed this group of Cybertrucks. I thought I would bring the drone down and zoom in and show you what these look like. Different kinds of wraps being placed onto these Cybertrucks, and I believe that these are all part of the Tesla fleet, and that one with the white also has kind of a QR code on the front hood. So definitely neat to see how they are experimenting with different kinds of wraps. More of the work on the trenching directly below the drone. And as we wrap around the flagpoles, I noticed that there is a display getting ready for a open house today with invite-only event for military and first responders, other people that are getting the opportunity to try out Tesla products for the very first time. Plus, they also had a Pro Team demo day, and I actually was invited to that, and I was able to tour inside the factory and get on the ground level here with all of these displays, and I will have that in a separate video. But this is what it looked like as they were getting ready for the event. Sorry about all the lighting of the sun. It was just really not the best lighting. I am now into the shade of the factory, so this gives you a nicer look, at least from the drone viewpoint, of what this display looks like. Now I'm going to bring the drone up and kind of give a spiral up approach to show you what is going on. We see the semi was here. I got a chance to go in it today. Of course, all of these vehicles, the Cybercab kind of prominently displayed at the top of the trapezoid. We have a blue Cybertruck pulling a Arrow trailer, and pretty much the rest of the sexy line. They were giving full self-driving demonstration rides to the people that were invited to the event earlier today, or right after this video was done. Also factory tours and demos of how to do maintenance on the Model Y, kind of giving an idea what it's like to own a Tesla. So overall, I think it was a really great event, but at the time of my flying, they were just getting this ready to go. Now, let's go ahead and cross over the highway, and we'll take a look at what is going on this side. First, you see that perimeter fence at the bottom of the screen that mostly wraps around this entire west side now. We do see a few vehicles arriving on the left, but these are not for production for the day because this is a Friday, also getting ready for the long weekend. Now we do see this new work that is being done, adding in concrete and reshaping this part of the end of line facility. I do now know what this is going to be, but for right now, I'm going to say this is all part of a new public-facing opportunity that Tesla is going to unveil here very soon. Now, of course, on the north side, we see not only the Cybertrucks, but on the right-hand side of the screen, they've changed their operations. They've moved the employee parking onto the right-hand side of the screen next to those fences, and they've repurposed the south part of the outbound lot near the end of line for some other operations. And we'll see that here momentarily. But while I bring the drone back up, we'll come over to the wash rack where they can do cleaning of vehicles. It looks like on the ground those trenches are being filled back in, and it's getting ready for asphalt, and then this will be complete and fully operational. More vehicles on the left next to the track waiting for their turn to be final processed. And then as I go over the end-of-line facility to the south superchargers, not only do we see the activity with the vehicles, but also this parking lot, which used to be used for employee parking, is now been redesignated for outbound lot operations, or at least staging the vehicles for right now. So this is pretty neat to see that they continue to change their operations, and I'll bring the drone down lower so you can get a better view of some of the vehicles. But yeah, they're preparing for a public opportunity on the north side of the end of line, and that's one of the reasons why all of these changes are being made. So let's fly over to the material staging yard and take a look at some differences and changes today. So one of the things that does stand out is the number of transformers. They're again starting to take delivery of more of them. You can tell here the original line at the center right, and then in the center of the screen in that area where all of those transformers are, those have been added over the last week while I was down at Starbase. Now as we fly over this kind of Quonset hut building, we're going to go over to where the stamping machine parts for the Giga Nevada semi factory are located. This is all that is left. Everything else has been shipped off to Giga Nevada. And watching Zangler's drone videos over the last week, we know that most of those items have been delivered to Giga Nevada and moved in for installation in the new semi-truck manufacturing facility out there. So nice to see that all this is almost completed. Now there are more transformers here next to this white tent-like structure. These have been here for a while. But it looks like they are starting to add to the overall quantity. Now, I did mention that a lot of the materials that have been stored here are starting to be moved into the factory, and we're seeing less and less of it here. There are a few deliveries, but not like we've seen in the past, one going on today. But the real news is how much of this equipment, the boxes and the wrapped items, have been moved into the factory for installation. And that continues to be a major effort as they try to get the Cybercab production lines fully assembled, set up, tested, and prepared for production sometime late this year into early next year. We also see some more of the crates being stored here in the middle part of the screen. And at the bottom, we don't see any of those stamping machine parts because the trailers that were here when I left last week have already headed out to Giga Nevada. So this is an overall view of this Southwest Material Staging Yard, what it looks like today. And I think this is a very positive sign that all of that equipment is on its way into the factory being installed right now. All right, stop here at this caisson, and I'm going to give you a down view into the bottom where we'll see that tunnel boring machine at work heading underneath the road towards that smaller caisson. It appears here that we are seeing the concrete pipe segments being installed and pushed in the tunnel boring tunnel that has been created, and that will line that tunnel, very similar to the larger pipe diameter that heads to the south underneath the Colorado River. So we're going to fly along this east side of the outbound lot, the end of line, great view of downtown Austin, and just what the entire parking lot looks like as we get ready for the long weekend. So let's cross over the highway and we'll resume on the other side. When I arrived earlier today, I noticed that there were items being picked up by the crane, put into that platform. It looks like that has been done by the time I got the drone here, but we can see some of the packaging on the ground that is remaining from after being unpacked and installed inside the 4680 structural pack part of the factory. Now here on the roof, you can tell those solar panels being added, kind of like the underline underneath the Tesla letters, and that continues to work at a slow pace towards the north near where that fire break wall is located on the roof. Now another thing that I did notice as I pull away backwards is coming into view off to the right, we're going to see kind of a pile of debris on the roof here. And it looks like they are doing some sort of work here on the roof, maybe with some of the materials that are the weatherproof membrane. But I also noticed that they've pressure washed this again. It looks like maybe they're replacing this part of the roof. Perhaps this is another section that has started to leak like we saw in another part of the factory about a year or so ago. While I'm here also, I'll look straight down on the north part of the paint shop and show you these painting stands. These are for bumpers and other parts of the Model Y that holds the parts that are painted. And this is kind of what that looks like here today. More of the castings. Some of these are Cybertruck as we pass over these rack mounts. And then as we get a little bit farther along, some of these start turning into Cybercab castings. Now I know that there has been some discussion about some parts of Cybercabs, perhaps the front and rear assemblies out at Fremont. And the answer is yes, that is what that is. These castings have been sent out there for their engineering teams as they are doing final checks and engineering analysis and preparation for production. So that is great to see and to kind of confirm what we are getting from drone shots out at Fremont. So we have this connection with Giga Nevada for stamping machines, parts for the semi, and we have connection with Fremont with the castings and the preparation for the Cybercab unboxing production methodology. And most of the castings that we see at the bottom right of the screen are for the Model Ys. And of course, another one of the temporary platforms where more items are being brought into the second floor of casting. Now, as I pull away, another thing I wanted to kind of show is that these trailers that we've watched being assembled over the last few months, and so that they can move operations, were actually used today. It was where we checked in for the events. It wasn't really well furnished inside, but it is the beginning of moving the operations from the older trailers at the top right of the screen into these. So probably over the next few weeks, we'll see the rest of the moves done, and then they will be able to relocate all those trailers on the top right so they can continue to do more construction in this overall construction site. And here's a nice view of the concrete segments that will be used in the construction site. And as we get up closer, I wanted to just give you a quick look at the die shop and just sort of some of the activity that is here with all the cars parked. It shows that there is definitely work being done on the inside. But again, this is getting ready for the weekend, so I'm not sure exactly how much. Now on the cooling plant for the battery cathode plant, this is what it appears like today. I don't see very many condensation. There's a little bit on the vaporizers, but not a whole lot. The fans are working, but again, since it's getting ready for the long weekend, I'm not sure how much that's being used. And also, with my trip down to the Tesla Lithium plant near Corpus Christi, we saw that that plant is at least partially operational now, and it's creating or making the lithium hydroxide that would be an input here to the cathode building, and then they can use those products from the lithium plant to make the cathode materials for the 4680s. So it was really great to see that that was an operation, and I would recommend again you take a look at my lithium plant video for more. Now here at this staging yard we see those transformers, the green ones, still waiting for their chance to be installed next to that cell test lab. The wade pit still not being used very much. But I hope that we start seeing some more testing in here. I'd like to see if they can get the Cybertruck maybe to float, or maybe they'll be doing other vehicles. The crash testing facility has been very busy doing a lot of testing, variety of vehicles, and it's possible that we might see some Cybercab testing coming up in the not too distant future as it's getting closer and closer for that production line and the certification for those vehicles for operation. So I'll try to keep an eye on that, and if we see anything, I will let you know. Now, some of the boxes and materials next to the east wall of the cathode building are still here. I'm not sure what is in there, but it doesn't look like it's a high priority to get those moved in yet, as those have been sitting there for a couple of weeks now. At the south end of the crash test facility, this is what it looks like today. It looks like the crash wall is in place, so they may be configuring it for more testing. The grates on top of the dunk tank are in place as well, so they don't need that for whatever they're working on right now. The east side kind of materials and vehicles and workshops, and also the controlled trailers looks reasonably busy today. That would be continuing despite the fact that it's a Friday. Production is low. But I did notice that we have a lot of trucks lined up here next to the east warehouse on wheels yard. This gives you a great look all along the entire length here. And it's very possible that these are bringing in production materials and items that are used for vehicles, and they're just getting those staged up so that they can be ready for next week. But it is a lot of vehicles making deliveries here at this part of the site today. Now, as we get closer to the Cortex 2 facility, we'll take a look around and see what has been happening over the last couple of weeks. The biggest changes is what we see on the roof. They've finished most of the weatherproof membrane on the first 1/4 on the south end. Now they're working on that middle section. In addition to that, much of the walls have been completed, at least with the wall panels and the texture coating, and they're getting ready to put that white stain in. This is a close-in view of the work this morning with the roofing materials. You can see this line of workers putting in the insulation panels, and then on top of this double layer of insulation will be this white membrane. And this is pretty much how they do it. They glue them down, they put the buckets on to hold them down while the glue cures, and then they follow it up with that white material. Looks like about half of the roof here on this second quarter of the roof is nearly completed, and we can see that work on the left that's remaining, and a lot of the materials that have been brought up to the roof, pre-positioning them, ready for that work to continue, working from the south to the north. More materials here on the ground being delivered and lifted up by the crane, and others being protected with this green kind of a tarp. Now on the ground is more of this gravel and dirt mix that's being delivered, and this is being used around the entire site. And this is kind of a segregated area for this, and you can see that silt fence and some of the chain link fence around this location. And at the bottom of the screen, we see that Keystone Workshop, more of the fencing, and some more equipment or items, materials for building being stored here. On the north end, we see this fenced off section. This is for pipes. Most likely it's for the utilities permit that I've seen recently for the Cortex 2 facility. And also kind of a view inside where they are doing some work on that ground slab, but it's kind of hard to tell with the lighting. On the north end, they are doing that texturized coating on the blue panels, and eventually that will be ready for the white stain. This shows that this kind of alleyway along the west side is being backfilled in, and that's consistent with that higher perimeter grade beam on this side of the building. The earthwork that we saw on my previous video on the right-hand side of the screen looks like it's completed. It's hard to tell, but I think the grade is a little bit higher than it was. And again, that would match up with the perimeter grade beam on the left-hand side, bottom of the walls of the building, as this is actually a little bit higher, maybe about a meter higher than it is on the east side. So as we get closer to these older trailers, we'll kind of position the drone over these and take a look at what's going on with the Megapack. Appears that there is some trench work coming down to the south. There is a fire hydrant there, so it could be related to the fire hydrant system. But this is what it looks like here today. As we pass over the fence, the lighting and the bulk of the Megapack 2, we can see that the conduit down the cable trays looks like it's mostly completed now, although they are continuing to do work to connect into this control trailer on the north end. And this is a great close-in view of what that appears like here this morning. Now, as I pan the drone to the north, there are some big changes at the electrical switchyard, particularly the kind of tunnel that connects the old vault with those 3 trailers to the new vault, which now has 2 trailers. And this is very similar to how the switchyard on the top was originally built, where there were 2 and then 3. The third one was added later on, but you can see that plywood over the hole so that there is provisions for another trailer. The other thing that I noticed is that they have the excavations here for the kind of catch basin for the very large transformers. There's a close-in view of what this appears like. This is all designed to not only support the transformer, but also to have kind of a moat in case the cooling oil were to leak, and it would be able to contain that. If you take a look at the top left or top right, you can see what one of those transformers and the base looks like with the grate around, and that tank, which is for the oil, that is what they are building here. It looks like for right now, with the excavations and the dirt being stored onto the left, and also without that third trailer, that we'll probably see 2 transformers at first, with the option to expand it to a third later on. So we'll continue to monitor that as we go. There is more rebar that has been delivered, stored nearby that graded section. So we'll continue to watch for vertical assembly here at the switchyard expansion. So I'll bring the drone up to a much higher altitude. We'll kind of get a bird's eye view of all the areas that we were able to see today. Again, it's a big day with invite-only event, and also for Tesla worldwide. I hope you enjoyed what we were able to see and talk about today. As always, thank you very much for watching. Have a happy Labor Day.